All right, so here we are starting number 15, and as we move into 15, 16, 17, and 18, there's something that we have to understand. The directions change, and the reason for that is because now we are moving on to literal equations. So if we remember, literal means letters. And so there's two important things that I want you guys to remember. One, we are still solving equations. So in order to undo multiplication, we will divide. In order to undo division, we will multiply. In order to undo addition or positive numbers, we will take the negative number or we will subtract. So none of that changes. The only difference is instead of solving for A, we're really just rearranging the equations to get A by itself because we're not eliminating anything. And so let's take a look at number 15 here. And so we have Z equals 2A. So we are doing little equations, but we still have a 2A. And so we are still multiplying the 2 and the 8. So in order to undo multiplication, we're going to divide. We always divide by what we're trying to get rid of. And we're trying to get A by itself still. And that tells us that right there. So we're going to have to cancel things out. In this case, we need to cancel the 2. And what we do to one side, we've got to do to the other. So the 2's end up canceling. And so we get that A that we want by itself. And so once we get the A by itself in literal equations, or the variable that we're looking for, all we do is copy down whatever's on the left because we're not solving for anything. We're just rearranging. So we're going to have A equals Z over 2. And that is going to be choice B. Okay, so then let's move on over here to number 16. So once again, we have a literal equation. So we have U equals 2 minus 2A. Once again, for this one, we are looking for A. So if we're going to look for A, we're still rearranging using the same process, the same principles that we did for solving equations. And if we want to get this A by itself, the first thing we're going to have to get rid of is the positive 2, the other term, the constant term. And so we're going to subtract 2. And then what we do to one side, we still got to do to the other. Except now you see we have a U and we have a negative 2. You can't subtract negative 2 from a U. So you're just going to bring this side down, and it's going to be U minus 2. And then these cancel out. So we're left with negative 2A. So we have U minus 2 equals negative 2A. So once again, we get to this point, and we have a negative 2 and the A together, so they are being multiplied. So in order to undo multiplication, we are going to divide, and we're going to divide the entire left expression, U minus 2, by negative 2. Now, there is a rule for fractions, and that is you cannot have a negative in the denominator. So what that means is we are going to distribute that negative up here to the U and to the negative 2. And so if we recall from earlier when we were distributing a negative, all it's really going to do is flip the sign. And so that's all we're going to do here. So the negative to the U is going to make it a negative U. The negative to a negative 2, negative and a negative is going to give us a positive 2. And it's still going to be all over 2 equals, once again, those will cancel out, A. And so that is how you do problem number 16, and that is going to be choice A. So now let's move on to number 17. So with 17, we have G equals, got it a little bigger, G equals B minus A plus C. And so far, with this one, it's a little bit different because we're still solving for A, but usually what we've been doing is moving the C and moving the B in order to get A by itself. However, this time, it's not just A, but it's negative A. So even if we move B and C, we're still going to have that negative. And if you want to do it, that you move the B and C over and you leave that negative A, you just got to remember that you're going to end up dividing by negative 1. But I don't like doing that because I know an easier way to get A positive, and we're looking for a positive A, and that is to switch it over. And in order to switch it over, we're going to add it because what we do to one side, we've got to do to the other. So we're not canceling them out with literal equations. All we're doing is moving that A over. So now we have A plus G equals B, and that's a positive C. So now we have a positive A, and the last thing we're going to have to do is to get rid of that plus G or that positive G is to subtract it or take the negative of it. And if we do that, remember it's B, C, and G. They are all three different variables. So we cannot combine any of them together. So we're just going to make it one big expression. B comes down, positive C comes down, and we have added the negative G to it. So we have B plus C minus G. Now you could still get negative G plus B plus C. The thing to remember is, guys, when we have these, you can have it in a different order, but the signs have to be the same. So A has to be positive, B has to be positive, C has to be positive, and G has to be negative. All right, so for number 18, we have Z equals XY over M. And for this one, we're solving for X. So this one's a little bit tricky, and it tends to confuse some people because X is on top. So the thing that we want to get rid of first is that Y. But we have to remember when it comes to fractions, it is division. And in order to get rid of division, we have to multiply. But the key here is we always have to multiply by the denominator. In this case is M. So what we do to one side, we've got to do to the other. And the reason we're going to multiply by the denominator is when we have an M on top or an M on top and an M on the bottom, they're going to cancel out. Because M over M or anything over itself always cancels out or reduces to 1. So that's why we did that. So then we have M, Z, they're getting multiplied, so you put them together, and then X and Y. And so now, if we want to get X by itself, we're going to divide both sides by Y because they're being multiplied together. And once again, when it comes to literal equations, if we get X by itself, which we will after the Y's cancel, now the left side is our answer. So we're going to have MZ, or you could have ZM over Y equals X. Okay?